what a crazy Sunday this was. And these three games pretty much just bring out some of the most craziest and some of the things that us fans want to see, and some of the things that us fans do not want to see. And let's actually talk about us fans that do not want to see, and that, of course, is refereeing controversy. And remember how a couple of weeks ago I talked about how pro and how the way that they've been handling their referee, and how they have just they are completely just destroying this league reputation because of the bad refereeing that is happening around the league. Well, this game probably was a prime example, and if you look at all three of these games, this kind of explains why pro is right now reached a new low, and now reached to a level where people are starting to think about protesting them. I mean, in this game between the Sounders and FC Dallas, which I just watched a couple of minutes ago, right at the end of the game, Ziegler got sent off, and I put a big question mark in this, mainly because did he deserve to get sent off, or did we think that Raul Ruidíaz should be the one that gets sent off? I mean, this whole incident all started with Ruidíaz basically headbutt Ziegler, and the referee, of course, looked at that incident, and he actually gave a straight red to Ziegler first, because Ziegler did kind of retaliate that headbutt, and he did kind of grab the arms of Ruidíaz. But if you're a soccer player and you basically just got headbutted by your opponent, of course you're going to try to get your hands around your opponent. And the thing is, when you look at that headbutt of how Ziegler was actually right in front of Ruidíaz, and Ruidíaz basically just kind of headbutt like this back at him, and instantly Ziegler, of course, got the hands off of Ruidíaz. That just also makes it very, very questionable too, because it's not like Ziegler just after he got headbutt, he just gets up and then just smacked Ziegler in the face. No, it was just Ziegler that just instantly kind of responds after just got headbutted in his face. And yeah, I mean, I just don't understand how in the world that is a red card. And the other thing that makes this refereeing, the refereeing in this game just such a big joke, is that they did not even go to VAR to look at that instant. The referee in this game, Ted Uncle, didn't even look at the VAR for this one. He didn't even go and take a second look to make sure that it wasn't Ruidíaz the one that instigated this whole incident, and that he started with the headbutt. And yeah, I mean, I don't know why did he not look at VAR at that instant. And there was a huge scrum after this whole incident too. Like, when you have that kind of huge scrum after that incident, surely if you're a referee, you would look at VAR and you would look to see who deserved to get sent off and who deserved to get a yellow card. And yet, none of that happened in this game, and Ziegler was the only one that got sent off. And the hard thing about Ziegler is that as much as you would think he's gonna try to appeal this red card to Disco, and hopefully he will get rescinded, he probably isn't going to do it, or he probably will be denied because of what happened after he received a red card, and that he actually shoved the referee because of the bad call. And when you shove a referee, not only you're not gonna get that as a way to rescind your red card, but you also probably will get additional fines for that. But overall, when you look at what happened at the end of this game, and it's really hard for me to also talk about what also happened overall in this game because of how big that incident is. And did I also mention the fact that Ted Uncle decided to blow the final whistle literally at the 94th minute, literally at the minimum stoppage time that it was given in that second half, when it was pretty clear that scrum happened for like 3 minutes, and that only like maybe 90, or not 90, but only about 10% of the ball of that stoppage time was actually when the ball was in play. I mean, if you're an FC Dallas fan, I think maybe that is something that you are more annoyed than probably the red card that is. I mean, the fact that you had this massive scrum and yet you are not allowed to, after the referee sort this out, and you're not allowed to continue on to the game and maybe use the time that was wasted as a way to maybe get a late equalizer. I mean, that must really piss you off, and certainly piss a lot of Dallas fans off about that, because this is not a game like it's like a blowout game. This is a 2-1 game between the Sounders and FC Dallas, and FC Dallas still has a chance to potentially get a late equalizer. And knowing what we saw so far this week and so far this season in MLS, you know, those last couple of minutes in stoppage time is as precious as the whole 90 minutes of the game. And I just don't get why exactly Ted Uncle decided to blow the referee or blow the final whistle in this game. And yeah, I mean, for FC Dallas, I really think they just got completely robbed in this game. And this is probably, I won't say that this was as big as an injustice as what happened a couple weeks ago with the Orlando City versus Columbus Crew incident, when, you know, I think it was, I kind of forgot what happened in that instant, but I think it was one of the Orlando City player got sent off, which, speaking of Orlando City, of course I will talk about the Higuita sending off after this incident. But yeah, I mean, that is certainly a injustice to FC Dallas, and the fact that how bad the referee handled that scrum and how bad this game kind of ends. You know, it's almost feel like you don't even care who actually win this game. And in this game, certainly for the Sounders, this is a big win for them, and they of course would now get closer to potentially making the playoffs. But at the end of the game, this is the incident that everybody will talk about. Nobody, of course, will talk about the Chad Marshall goal in the first half. Nobody's going to be talking about the Ladero goal that I don't know how in the world did no FC Dallas player decide to clear that one out after it was a driven header or a driven kind of shot that was in the box and was supposed to be for one of the Sounders player to basically head it in, but nobody, of course, touched the ball, and the ball ended up into the back of the net. And nobody, of course, will remember the Baji debut goal because of the incident that happened right at the end of the game. So, moving on and talking about the Higuita sending off, and this is a game that I, of course, will talk about what happened at the end of the game. And thankfully, the incident happened at the end of this game was an insane moment that was actually good. And not like this one where it was an insane moment that has a lot of negativity. But obviously, before I get to that, you know, Lucio Acosta with a hat-trick in this game. David Alstead got an own goal in the 50th minute. And, you know, with that own goal, you would think that Bill Hamid is literally one step closer of reclaiming his spot as a starting goalkeeper for DC United. Dom Dwyer, of course, got an equalizer for Orlando City, but Higuita did get sent off in the 55th minute. And, you know, this was one that was, you know, it was tough to look at to see whether or not if this was actually a sending off or not. I mean, when you look in real game time, it looked like a very kind of soft red card, with the fact that Higuita didn't really made a lot of contact out of, I believe it was Assad that went down after Higuita basically elbowed him. But when you look at it on the replay and you look at where the referee will use VAR to look at the replay, it looked like Higuita did swing that arm, and he looked like he was intended to swing that arm to hit Assad. And Yeah, I mean, I know Orlando City fans are not going to be happy about that, and I'm pretty sure Orlando City fans, knowing the fact that this year, how many times they've been kind of been been having a call that is against them that was just a bad call and not the right decision. Orlando City fans must be absolutely livid and pretty much completely out of their mind of how another bad call goes against them. And, I think this call, it's a kind of a 50-50 call in my opinion. I mean, when you slow it down, it does look like Higuita kind of intentionally swing that arm off to Assad, but at the same time, there's not really like a lot of distinct kind of evidence to, overturn that call and said that Higuita deserved anything but a red card after that instant. But now let's actually talk about what happened at the end of the game, because holy crap, this was a crazy kind of instant at the end of the game. And speaking of Orlando City and their fans, beware of this moment, because I'm pretty sure you've been hearing this at least 100 times and you don't want me to talk about it again. But unfortunately, I have to talk about it and sort of rub a little bit salt into the wounds. But basically what happened in this winner by Lucho Acosta, it all started when there was an ensuing corner, and I actually don't know what in the world was David Ousted thinking to come up to the box and basically try to potentially score the winner when the game was actually tied at 2-2. I mean, I don't think I have ever seen a goalkeeper coming up out of his box and heading into the box to take this corner when the game is tied at 2-2. I mean, the only time that I might see that happen is when a team have to win a game to potentially make it to the playoffs, or the fact that the team have to score a goal in stoppage time and have to win the game if they want to win this two-legged affair. But no, this was just a 2-2 game, and I don't know what David Ousted was thinking coming up. And as soon as Orlando City cleared the ball, Will Johnson, I don't know what in the world was he thinking of not actually straight away chipping the goalkeeper. Like, he had an open net to basically shoot at, with Ousted just inexplicably coming off his line and heading into the box when the game is at 2-2. But instead, he hesitated, and of all people to be back to make an emergency kind of tackle to try to get that ball away, it would be Wayne Rooney, who is the slowest player on the pitch, made an absolute amazing tackle. But that wasn't it for Wayne Rooney. After he made that amazing sliding tackle, he literally got up, got the ball, and then he dropped an absolute dime of a ball to Lucho Acosta. Acosta, who is the shortest player on the pitch right now, heads that one into the back of the net to make it 3-2. And I mean, that is just incredible. And I think, at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure a lot of people will talk about the Wayne Rooney assist more than the Lucho Acosta hat-trick because of what Rooney just did in the development of the play. But you also got to give a lot of shout out to Acosta, who, coming into this game only scored 1 goal, and yet he scored a hat-trick in this one. And the fact that he is the shortest player out there and able to hit that one in. I mean, we saw this happen in the Portland versus Vancouver game where Christian Teixeira was the shortest player and that he was able to hit one in. Well, we're seeing the same thing with Lucho Acosta. Only 5'3", hit that one in for a winning goal. And yeah, I mean, it was absolute scenes at Audi Field when that goal went in. And for Orlando City, well, if you think that things have just not gone bad and if you think you have seen the worst of this team, you just saw another worse, and you pretty much just saw another way of how this team can lose a game in stoppage time. And this is probably the craziest way that I see a team lose a game, maybe even more crazier than the El Tráfico earlier in the season when Zlatan, of course, scored that winning goal and LA Galaxy was able to come back after going 3-0 down against LAFC. I mean, it was, of all people, Wayne Rooney would be the one that actually tracked back and made an amazing defensive play and then just put an absolute dime to Acosta to hit that one in. Like, I definitely did not expect that. But, you know, overall, if you look at the big picture for this game, you know, it's a big win for DC United. But having said that, do I still think that they might have a chance to make the playoffs? No. And the reason why I think that is the case is because if you look at how DC United in this game, and even when they were up a man, they just don't look comfortable whatsoever. And, you know, it's good that you were able to get a win against Orlando City, but what happened if they do play against a big team? And next week, they are going to be playing a big team. They're going to be playing against Atlanta United. And unless if DC United can prove to me that they can beat a big team, and just in this game, in some way, you could say they kind of got lucky, the fact that they were able to squeak out a win, because if they would have drew this game, then I'm pretty sure a lot of DC United fans will be not very happy with the result, considering the fact that they just drew to all the worst team in the Eastern Conference, and they had a man up for the last 35 minutes or so. But for now, they're definitely going to be happy with this victory. And as for Orlando City, well, yeah, I just said it. You just keep finding new ways to lose, and this is probably one of the most unlikeliest way to lose a game. I mean, I know a couple of people had said it on the Reddit post. Orlando City basically went from having an open net and having a chance to chip the goalkeeper after Osten made just a ridiculously bad decision of just coming out of his goal area to go up to try to potentially score a winner for DC United, to basically decide to get tackled by the slowest player on the pitch, and that slowest player on the pitch, known as Wayne Rooney, decided to put an absolute dime to Acosta to score the winner, and you lose that game. I mean, yeah, it must sucks to be an Orlando City fan. But hey, you know, one good thing I will say about Orlando City is that at least you're not a Quakes fan, and at least the fact that you haven't seen how the Quakes have been playing and how we've been having like some mismanagement. And at least I think their manager, James O'Connor, I really don't think he's done a bad job at Orlando City ever since he took over. I mean, for people that say that he's doing a bad job and he's doing the same thing that Jason Christ is doing, well, you got to keep in mind, he just came in mid-season, and the fact that he hasn't even done anything with this team. This is still a Jason Christ team, and this is still a team that just had an absolute dreadful defense. I mean, there's really nothing he can do to change that, and even with the way that he's trying to change it, with the way that his philosophy is trying to implement, you know, you got to keep in mind, he's only been there for 3 weeks, and guys are still trying to learn the system. And you know, I really think that, you know, it's a tough situation for Orlando City to be in. But hey, at least they got a new manager, and I really think James O'Connor will eventually sort this out and eventually get this team back to where it is. But I don't think this season will be the season, and I really think this is now just a losing cause for Orlando City. I mean, you know, losing another game and falling even more behind the playoff race, you know, that's definitely not a very good sign. But meanwhile, talk about the final game of this Sunday. TFC, of course, lost 3-2 to NYCFC, and Josie Altidore decided to get himself sent off in the 10th minute. And out of all 3 of these sending off, this one, it was definitely a red card. I mean, he basically just kicked out in this incident, and it was just a silly red card for TFC. And really, this red card just basically completely ruins TFC plan to potentially win the game. You know, despite the fact that they did come back twice thanks to Javinko and Vasquez. Tajiri Shradi basically scored a goal in the 88th minute to pretty much sink TFC hard. But yeah, this red card was the reason why TFC lost this. Have this red card did not happen, have Altidore did not just get himself sent off very sillily, I really think TFC could have potentially had a chance to maybe get a draw or even get a win in this game. But they didn't, and they lose this one, and they lose ground in the playoff race because of that. And yeah, and also they're going to lose Altidore for the next game too. So that obviously is not going to be good. And you've seen how when TFC did not have Altidore and how this team isn't really effective when they don't have him. But for NYCFC, this is definitely a big win. And at point, it looked like they were pretty much about to give up in the Supporter Shield race and probably is gonna finish second or third place in the Supporter Shield race again. But you know, credit to them, able to take advantage of the man advantage, and you know, they of course keep pace with their neighbor New York Red Bull and also gain up some ground to Atlanta in terms of that Supporter Shield race. But yeah, either way, that is pretty much it for the review of this. And I do apologize that this review is just as long as the first part one, because there was so many crazy things that happened in these 3 games. And, you know, a quick review is not gonna do it talking about what just happened in these 3 games. But either way, let me know in the comments below, what do you think of these 3 games? And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.